Ladies and gents, welcome to some four-lake action. Today we did Amazon Tunnel. We did Pacific Islands. We've done Arena. I've been bouncing all around. We've skipped over Arabia, which is a pretty common map. But it's been a while since I've actually casted Four Lakes. In fact, just the other day I was playing Four Lakes, and I was just like, wow, man, it's a completely different experience. It's so tricky, and it just adds dynamics to the game. So this map here is, you've got 4 ponds, or I guess lakes, in the corners where you can expand your economy and fish. But we are looking at 800 elo. We'll see if at 800 elo in 2023, if players are using those ponds. Some classic civilizations here. In the blue, we have the Britons for cowchon. More like cow chow, am I right? Get it? Okay. And then in the red, we have Captain Kingsmill. So, wow. Okay, so we have cowchon, and there's cows. And I imagine we're going to see a mill at some point in this game. So, their names kind of matching what flows in this game. Britons versus the Goths, if you would have asked me a month ago, I would say Britons are the superior civ. Britons have the sheep, or in this case, cow bonus. They have the cheaper town centers. They have extra range on their archers, and they have great infantry to match the Goths. Goths don't really have an eco bonus to speak of. I still think Britons are the superior civilization if played to the maximum capacity, right? If you're making the best out of every bonus. But the Goths did just receive an eco bonus, guys. Their hunt lasts a little bit longer. Not a little bit. What is it, like 35 or 30%? I forget. So that gives them more food to work with. On top of having the cheaper infantry, it can make Goths pretty strong. But who cares about that? All we care about in Blue's base is chopping all the straggler trees from the map. So good work there, Blue. I've talked about this before, how I wouldn't suggest it. If you're walking this far, it is quite inefficient. But, this is going to be an utterly ridiculous game here for Cal, as he's going to go for the mill build first. So, I want to talk about docking. I want to talk about why it's strong, because so many people miss out on this. So, when we cast games, we oftentimes stress the ILTC time. We do it more than ever. In the past, we didn't have, like, a tracker of that. But the idea is, the more your TC is producing villagers, the more villagers you'll have. The more villagers you'll have, the more resources you're going to have in the long run, right? So, on a normal lands map, in Dark Age and Feudal Age, you can have one town center. It's important that town center is producing, so you can have more villagers, right? However, on a water map, you can make a dock. So you can have the town center producing villagers, and if you send 5 or 6 to wood, then you could also have the dock producing fishing ships. So this is essentially another economic building, and there's tons of food everywhere. So it's really important if there is water to dock. And the other thing to mention about fishing ships too is look how much food is here. So even if you just made one fishing ship, that fishing ship is going to bring you in well over 1,000 food throughout the game, which is unlike a farm, right? So it's just important to fish. But at this rank, some players, they haven't really tried that yet. Some players aren't good at it. Some players don't even scout it. Like Blue, Blue's scout who just passed by Red's base and has idled a fair amount of Red's economy. Blue doesn't even know. So Blue's got zero clue that is the case, and I don't even know where half these villagers are going. But clearly efficiency is not really the most important thing in Blue's economy. You can see the moving time. This is why we talk about straggler trees and how they can be kind of bad, but it's Lowy the Legends, man. And that's free wood, so dang it, I'm going to chop those trees. Okay. So, small tips and words of wisdom here, if you could call me anything similar to wise. If you want wood and you want this to be efficient, I wouldn't suggest making the houses right next to everything. Like, this can kind of be an issue in some cases. But anyways, Blue, a minute and 25 seconds of TC idle time. Blue's actually going to use this as part of a wall. Or, why did I say Blue? Red is, excuse me. So I can see why Red had done that. Red also has 3 fishing ships. So has produced villagers less frequently, but has the fishing ships, which is certainly going to make up for some things. Blue has made a line of houses, but blue has made a line of houses kind of behind the base. And blue has clicked all over the map with the scout. So scouting a lot. Did scout that there's water here, but I already know what type of player blue is. Blue is not a player that's ever going to add fish. It's not going to happen, okay? If it does happen, it'll happen in feudal age. A lot of players will start to do it in feudal. But the earlier you add fish, the more effective, because that's the more economy you're expanding to. But, you know, Britons and Goths played a lot, and I imagine eventually for blue we're going to see a barracks. And, oh boy, we've seen a bell. Red Scout right underneath the TC. Red Scout is now dead, which is quite sad for Red Scout, because Red Scout's got a couple family members back here at the woodline, and they're never going to see him again. That was really dark. More fishing ships for Red. It's all right. You add one more fishing ship. It's, you know, it makes up for the scout. And will we see feudal age army at all here? This map's super tricky to play. And so I could see players delaying army production for that reason. Blue with lots of farms. Blue still finishing boar number 1. And blue still has boar number 2 available. And here's the scout just waiting. T90, if you put houses next to the lumber camp, the people living in the houses will be able to get to work faster. Okay, I didn't think about that, right? That's a very important thing when going to and from work. They probably factored that into taking this job, right? And they were gonna mine this gold and this stone, and you know, the salary was a little bit higher, but it just didn't pay for gas, you know? It wasn't worth the time either, away from home, away from their families. But there's the barracks for Red. And let's look at resources gathered. Let's see if there's a significant difference here. Not that crazy, right? But hear me out and let's just wait. I mean, that's still helpful, but let's just wait a couple more minutes. There's the barracks for blue. Blue really likes the line of house strat. Nothing on gold yet for blue. So no sign of if blue's going to maybe go for some army. Red still adding more fishing ships. And I just noticed Red is only at 20 villagers. So it's ahead in resources collected, being behind by 7 villagers. That's pretty wild. Oh boy, another villager headed down here. Yeah, the food count is going to be insane for Red, man. See if the dock's going to go up here. I run into this problem as well, is sometimes I have too much food. Like, I want to add fish, because I find the shoreline and I have the wood. But actually what I need is I need gold. I always have tons of wood and tons of food on this map. But this would probably be a situation if you want to go Castle Age anyways, where you actually just go send more to gold. Archer range is here for blue. What? Wheelbarrow right away? Okay. So farmers will be pretty efficient, but double archer range. And we're going to see skirms, so I wonder if blue is scared that the opponent's going to make archers. I think we know that the opponent's not going to make archers. There is a thing called a scout. But I'm experienced enough to know that while you should see what the opponent's doing, that is just one extra thing on the list of very important and difficult things to do in this game. So a lot of times people just try and expect certain things and adapt, which is fine. Probably not the first time that blue has played against the Britons. Because if you come back to the game, which civilizations do you think you know? You probably know, like, Byzantines, Britons, Goths, Persians, Franks? Was that 5? I was trying to think of 5. Britons is definitely in there. By the way, Red just clicked a transport ship by mistake, which is kind of funny. And then canceled it. I was a little concerned. Okay, so defensive skirmishers. Blue, not really looking to move out with that. Blue did scout the opponent's base. Red doesn't have any army, right? Like, this is a pretty significant window where you could maybe attack and force something out of red, but nothing yet. How long can you spectate a game after playing it? You mean how long can I watch a recorded game or watch live? With watching live, if I start spectating it right when the game ends, like right before the game ends, it'll let me watch at the very end. So if it's a 2-hour game and I start spectating it at 1 hour and 59 minutes and 59 seconds, I can see it to the end. That's not a problem. Yeah, there's the resources collected. Now, obviously, still a 6 villager difference. Red is on the way to Castle Age. But blue's done all right. It's just skirmishers are pretty costly on wood and food. Yes, recorded game. Well, that depends on when the game was played, right? So if the game was played in the previous patch, then the game is dead forever. Which, by the way, really sucks. This is a game that's super old, and there's a lot of history and nostalgia with Age of Empires 2. The fact that we don't have the ability to really toggle through patches is disappointing to me. There are a lot of other games that allow you to go back to previous builds, but not Age of Empires 2. Scout still standing there for blue. Still isn't checked, but has a pretty sizable army. And there's not really a sign to me that red has any interest in attacking. Red is 1 on gold. Red could make 1 knight, and that's it. I think this will probably be a town center for red. Looking for the hotkey or the button for it. And still looking for it. Can't find it on the pages. Doesn't have a hotkey. He's looking on the pages. Still looking. Bam! Found it. There we go. Now watch. The next town center is going to come up a little bit faster because he remembers where it is on the page. Have you ever given feedback on being able to go through build versions, or have developers ever made any statements on it? Yes and no. I've made feedback on it many, many times, and there's been no public statements on it, so. So, blue's still making army, and I think blue might have been a little scared by the opponent's uptime to feudal, and made a lot of army because of it. But still not even checking to see this. But you never want to attack the guy who's in Castle Age, right? Like, it's a really scary thing. If I had to guess, by the way, blue is just recently returned to the game, and red's played more games. Would you guys agree on that? Like, blue's done a good job with producing out of the TC, getting eco upgrades, producing lots of army, even some military upgrades. But it's just worrying about, like, upgrading things and producing army, but doesn't really have timings down. Red clearly is like, okay, I know the map. I know how important fishing is. The Castle Age time was a bit better. All these things showing that, to me, that red's more experienced. Oh, God! Here we go! And, okay, the scout actually moved and scouted that. But that is a lot of men-at-arms. That is a lot of army. And blue's actually making spears now. I think this could stress red out. Red might not know what to do about this. Red obviously might have the experience to be able to get to this type of a lead. But Goths are Goths, man. It's still a very stressful situation. Now, if you get enough knights, you can wreck this army. It's just a matter of patience here from red. So that's a really good job from red to just back up. Blue has 65 games and red has 545 games. Good call. Nice. Okay, so we're right on that. But blue sees knights and blue is massing more spears. Dude, blue's production. This is insane. And also, if I were red, after playing 600 plus games, I probably wouldn't have faced up against this that frequently. I would feel a little flexed on, right? Like, there would be a part of me that'd make me think, oh my God, this person's way better than me. They're trolling me. It's not a troll. Blue's going to attack the army. And let's see how this goes. Now, there were a big group of spearmen here at the time of the fight. This trade should be pretty good for red. Men-at-arms will die to a knight. Skirmishers are doing 1 damage a hit. But still, actually, blue is enough. And it's just because Goth units are so cheap. And because blue just made so much of everything. I like the approach, though. We have a counterattack from red. And this is a tip I give a lot. You know, just try and make a counterattack if you don't want them at your base. And we also have the man-at-arms choice here. And a couple barracks is probably what red needed to do while the knights were attacking. But going into longswordsman can be so good here. But this is so good, man. Oh, geez. Like, the experience from Captain Kingsmill showing here. And blue just turns around and fights with the vills. And kills the knight! So I guess he realized that one was weak, and he just doesn't feel like running away. Okay, spearmen are here. Save the day. Another villager goes down. And boom. Job done. Alright, so man-at-arms are on the way. Keep in mind, you would want to get longsword. Now, in the most recent patch, a tech called gambesons was introduced to a lot of civs, which adds extra pierce armor. I don't actually think Britons get that, which kind of irks me, by the way, because they always had fully upgraded infantry, and now they don't have fully upgraded infantry, and the civ's been around a long time. But anyways, they do get supplies, though, Britons, right? So ideally, you get supplies because it makes the food cost on the man-at-arm line cheaper, but also at the same time, he's got 2,000 food. It's not that big a deal. But you have to get longsword, and they decrease the amount of time it takes to get the longsword upgrade. So you should be able to get there soon. The concern, though, is that blue gets longsword and blue continues to produce a lot, that blue's still just going to overrun you. And that's why this matchup is closer than it used to be, because the Goths, they have a bit more of a boost in Dark Age than they would have had before the most recent patch. Again, I still like it from red. Like, the counterattacking is so important and takes out the spearmen there. More villagers are dying for blue. This gives red more time to mass some longswordsmen at home. And like, blue just rang the town bell. Blue does not pull villagers away from resources to garrison, it seems. Which is interesting. Because that's something that's so important in Age of Empires 2. Oh god, blue attacks and does not give a crap about defense. Okay, running to the TC. Oh, but this is all happening at the same time, and the longsword power! The longswords are ready. Holy military, Batman. 40 military for blue. Red has an amazing economy. Red should win this game, but will red get overwhelmed by the Goth spam? That is just a lot of stuff. That is just so much. Okay, red, you're outnumbered. You don't take this fight. All right, you back up to your TC, and you just take some deep breaths, okay? Deep breaths. There's never going to be a good fight for you. I know you've got upgrades. Just wait. Wait it out, my friend, okay? You're good. You've killed 11 eco from the opponent. And unbeknownst to you, he doesn't even have fish. Fish would have been so good for blue, especially considering how many longswords and skirmishers and spearmen blue likes to make. And the sneaky knight is killing blue's villagers. Red now is going to try and defend this. Red could still throw the game because there's 19 longswords on the front. Longsword, spearman trying to defend, town bell. And, okay, finally that's been dealt with. Town center fire from red, clearing up quite a few of the units from blue. Blue now down to 15 longswords, but red, you still only have 8. So, still have to mass up. This has been a stressful 800 elo game. Holy. By the way, fishing ships this whole time. Don't need to pay attention to it. Don't need to reseed it. Don't need to spend any resources. Just food, 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 food. This is why you fish, guys. All right. What is this army? This is pretty crazy. And blue's now attacking the town center, which shouldn't be good. But let's see. Goths do destroy buildings a little bit faster. I forget how that bonus stacks these days. Like, they destroy buildings a little bit faster per age, but still the town center shoots arrows. And blue's going to make more army behind this. I guess red doesn't have that many units garrisoned in the TC. That's the problem. There's only 4 villagers, so there's very few arrows firing. It's still good enough, though, right? Blue's going to lose everything, has to back away. Okay, so I say this as someone who didn't spend a lot of time on StarCraft, but blue reminds me of a StarCraft player. I don't know if anyone out there is experienced in StarCraft or like semi-experienced. agrees or disagrees, but like playing super open, not like playing super open and just massing tons of units and just going full aggro the whole time without like any real defensive capabilities, not branching out to different types of eco, not caring about any of that. Like the spam feels very StarCrafty. But also it's a player who is 65 games in, right? 65 games in, I would guess that Captain Kingsmill watches videos or has seen some videos, right? Not saying he's watching every one, but if you are, shout out to you, dude. Yeah. So trying to balance the game, do a bunch of different things, and obviously struggles to get the numbers at times, but this is now going to be a bit awkward for Red because all these fishing ships are idle. This is where you want to get them onto fish traps. I think Blue's got one more attempt in this game. Needs a big ball and needs to take out the town center most likely. And I actually think it's doable. Like, Red is moving to make more houses on the front here to get more pop space to create army, but this is really unlucky timing for Red. That house needs to complete. He needs those 5 units. Okay, he's only got 2 more on the way. He does have better upgrades, and he also... Oh, now he rings the bell. Okay, so he's got TC Fire, and he's got full attack, full armor. I think Red holds, but numbers are really important here. Wow. Red, please produce more. Red, my friend, you're not producing army. What is this game? The TC's halfway down. What is this game? Okay, Red's producing more army. Holy. Guys, by the way, like, Blue still could produce more. This could continue. Skirmishers, though, not very helpful. And again, maybe speaks to the inexperience. Skirmishers not very good against things that aren't archers. Or I guess, like, pikemen. Infantry's so cheap for Blue. If he had 10 more units there, I think he wins the game because he would take out the town center and all the villagers there, and I think Red would just get completely overwhelmed. Red is still very stressed. He still has lots of resources. There's the final attack upgrade for Blue. This could be possible. Red has resources to produce more, but is super stressed by all the pressure and the aggression. We have a market there for Blue. Interesting. And Blue's got... He probably has more resources collected when it comes to food now at this point. Now, he's just about to pass him because Red's fish has kind of fell off and Red doesn't have that many farmers. Gotta spend those res. That's something Blue's done such a good job of. Blue gets army and produces army almost consistently. And for Red, there's been some issues with that. Red, you're a madman if you try and go imp here. Your opponent has spammed military at you nonstop. Wow, interesting town center. So that's like more of a farm TC, right? Most Age of Empires players are aiming to place a TC on a resource. Again, telling me Red maybe comes from slightly different backgrounds, gaming-wise. But that is the shift of approach from Blue. So clearly Blue is thinking eco, because we're seeing more upgrades. We'll see if Red feels the confidence to move out. It might be a deer TC. I mean, the deer are there. Yep. So it's not a farm TC yet. Considering how Blue likes to click the town bell, placing TCs like this is actually kind of good. And Red's going to try and go imp here. And Red does not have the buildings for that. So Red's like, crap, I forgot the buildings. What buildings do I need again? Is it a university or is it a siege workshop? Or is it a monastery too? Crap, what is it? Oh, God. Actually, if he's pressing the hotkey, or if he's clicked it and it just didn't work, he might not realize. There's actually a very good chance that that's the case. And now we have cav archers. Cav archers. I laugh because Goths they're not really an archer civ. Their cav archers aren't the worst cav archers ever if you max out on upgrades, but certainly not the best. But Blue's probably thinking, how do I counter the longswords from the enemy? And Cav Archer is the thing that came to mind. And Blue probably not playing with a ton of Civ knowledge. But I like Blue's aggressive state. Like, okay, here's an interesting thing. So Red is currently slightly higher elo than the two. But if both of these guys, like, let's say I had put on a $1 billion show match between them, best of 5, okay? This is probably stupid of me to say because I've already stated I think Red probably watches the videos. But, okay, assuming Red's loyal, right? If we put these guys into a best of 5 a year from now and they've trained every single day, who do you think wins the best of 5? Again, silly statement. But I'm going to say Blue because Blue produces army more frequently, seems more active offensively, and if Blue used some of this speed in the early game to like maybe add some fish as well, and maybe knew like some of the units a bit better and civilizations a bit better, I think I would bet on Blue. In fact, I might bet on Blue in this game if this continues because Blue is flying with this eco. Now, obviously, Red could learn a lot as well, learn some lessons, get some game sense. Unfortunately, guys, I don't have $1 billion to sponsor a best of 5 between these two. I'm very sorry. I know you guys got excited for that. I'm sure it would be a good way to spend $1 billion. Can you imagine, though? It's like, oh, man, the winner gets 80%. Poor guy who lost that. Only gets 200 million. Blue just has this overdrive mode where he just goes crazy with production of whatever he's focusing on. Yeah, I'll have to give the Zuck a call and see if the Zuck wants to pitch in, but kind of doubting it. Imp resources are there for Red, just saying. They were there before. Red did make 2 buildings that would work for that, and Red's going to drop a castle on the front. Red is terrified. You could tell Red has lost to Goth Spam before. Because Red just seems so scared to move out. But also, if you lost to Goth Spam before, you should actually be trying to pressure the Goths before it gets to the late game. Has Facebook put you on an NDA regarding your contract? I mean, kinda, yeah. I don't know what questions you want to ask. You could ask questions. I could simply just not answer it. They didn't pay me $1 billion. Spoiler alert. I tried to get that much, and they said, sorry, maybe not quite worth it. Blue's army makes me so happy. The box formation. Look at Red. I'd be terrified if I saw this, dude. This guy's a monster. This guy is a monster. He's got box formation, Cav Archer, Longsword, Siege. I'd be like, in my 600 games, which is what Red has, I've never experienced this before. What do I do? Yeesh. Well, Blue's pretty close to being able to build a castle. We'll see if Blue moves forward in the same position. There's now a castle there. Wait, Blue sent a unit forward. Oh, that's so sick. That's so smart. He just sent 2 units forward. This is so good, guys. We'll go back to live time then. I talk about how important that is all the time. That's interesting, too, because Blue didn't really do the best at scouting earlier. The score is close. The matchup is close, Civ-wise. It could still swing either way. And we will see a castle here from Blue. So Blue's maybe thinking control this area of the map because there's a massive hill in the middle. Still pretty all-in, pretty aggressive guy, right? He doesn't have any defensive buildings. When he places his houses, he doesn't use his houses as part of walls like Red tried to do. And we are seeing skirmishers and longbows and long swordsmen. It's a good combination. What I would want with the Britons is I'd want Arbalest and I would want Champion. And the reason I say Arbalest over Skirm, well, is normally Goths aren't actually making Cav Archers. But you want your own champion to thwart or push back against Huskarl, because Huskarl is anti-archer. And then what Goths will do against your champion, if they're smart, is they just make more of their own champions, because they spam super fast and are really cheap. So that's why you have archers. So archers behind, champions in front is what you always want against Goths. And as Goths, you can't convince me otherwise. Always make infantry. Yes, T90, but Goths get hand cannons. Yeah, sure, but it's still, you're paying full price. You have no bonuses. And you could just spam so many champions at the speed of light. At the same time, you could make like 5 hand cannons, right? You do not need to take cost-effective trades with the Goths. Man, holy blue. Like, blue's still making vills. Blue is going to pass red in vills. Does red see this? Red doesn't see that. Mad respect for red on hanging on here, though. Mad respect for both. This is a really competitive game. It's interesting. Red has not gone to blue's base in so long, though. I'm not sure I like that castle spot. I prefer a castle actually on the hill. Obviously, it'd be bad here, but next to a gold or something. I also love to see maybe sending 1 unit forward. Seeing what the opponent's up to. Two-handed swordsman upgrade is in, which is nice. Blacksmith technologies are coming in. Red's got a big head start in a lot of these things, but blue is on the way to imp. With box formation, with cav archers. More houses just getting dropped over here. Okay. Resources collected in this game. Thank you guys for watching. Super close. Red just needs to catch a glimpse of this, and then suddenly you push it all back. We will have a Treb on the way, though, so red should spot this. I'm worried for blue now. Yep. Very worried for blue. Longbows are going to see this. Red pulls back. Longbows outrange the siege. Oink. Nice. Nice micro, red. Very nice micro. Blue doesn't know what to do about this. Blue's very distracted. However, does blue know about this? Because this could be a strategy here. Bam! Okay, cav archers don't even have fletching right now. Longswordsmen will run into double castle fire. Not a good position to be in if you're blue. But does red notice that? Oh my god. Oh my god. Blue's multitasking paying off here. Red doesn't see the raid. And now red didn't know about the castle? So, oh, this is actually not bad for blue. Huskarls are running in against the longbows. Remember, blue has had more villagers before that fight. Now definitely has more villagers. Blue's unit control. Pretty solid here, but I like how he chose to switch the positions. Because that was some technical micro there from red to pull the longbows back all the time, etc. And by the way, it's like full elite longbow here for red. No bracer yet, and no chemistry. Some important upgrades there. We'll see if this castle stays up. We have elite Huskarl for blue. Blue really needs that. Blue's going to get that upgrade because the Treb has been sniped. Remember, the most important building for the Goths is the castle, because you need to unlock so many of their bonuses. Elite Huskarl's great, but you want Perfusion and Anarchy, ideally. And blue, maybe you need to make some barracks. If blue doesn't know about Perfusion and Anarchy, this game is probably over, though. So Perfusion, you produce faster out of your barracks, and then Anarchy, you can produce Huskarls out of your barracks. And then at that point, you don't even need castles, really. Did Red ever build a new blacksmith? Well, he's had this one for a while. I'm not sure. I don't remember a blacksmith going down. So yeah, he's got a blacksmith to answer your question. Not having bracer here hurts. Longbows should be able to melt these long swordsmen. We do, however, have double trebuchet here from Captain Kingsmill, who's still got lots of resources banked. And we'll take out blue's castle. Blue's now making another castle, but I'm now concerned that blue doesn't know what unit to commit to here. Who even knows if this castle goes up with all these longbows around? Do Goths get gambesons? No, they do not. Obviously, they have elite Huskarl, though, so... At least I don't think they do. They shouldn't get it. Blue kind of forgot about these units. But if you ever noticed and ran into Red's economy, especially in the back... I know Red's already got some idols there. I doubt Red would notice. But longbow and two-handed swordsman. This is pretty close to the composition I said I would shoot for. And There's still only 2 barracks for blue, and that's really hurting right now, especially when there's that much wood. Blue's loved the idea of sniping trebuchets every time there's been spotted. Really wants to keep these castles up. So we'll sacrifice everything to go for these trebs. And... oh, no! This is so unlucky! So unlucky! No trebs will go down! What a great job from Red to pull those back. He would have lost both of those had he not pulled those back. Oh, boy. I do actually think full elite Huskarl spam saves blue. If blue had perfusion? Why'd my voice go so high? If he had perfusion and he had 8 barracks, with anarchy as well, I suppose, it would dominate. I guess, like, yeah, champion could come in and red could sort it out and deal with it, but red's not mining any gold right now. Like, this is it for red. This is a snowball push to finish the game. And blue trying to murder holes! He's trying to use his barracks as his production of the Huskarls right now, and when I said barracks, sorry, I meant to say castles, and obviously that is very slow. But again, it brings us back to blue, just like maybe lacking some knowledge here or there on certain aspects of the game. I like the castle from red there. I think it's a good idea. Britons are the best at this, where you stack castles and keep pushing forward with trebs. I don't like, however, how he doesn't have many two-handed swordsmen. His castle's going to go up here, but he could lose all of his longbows, and he could lose his trebs. He does take out blue's castle there, but red, you're starting to lose everything to these Huskarls, and oh my god, the production from blue! The Goths are back! Blue takes the score lead. What is happening? Hey, guys, red doesn't have gold income. Red, it said so many idols. Red lost this whole area, so doesn't have access to gold there. Red scouting has been really poor all game, and red doesn't see any gold, except for the gold at blue's base. What? Goth infantry melts castles pretty quickly as well, as you're seeing here. I mean, the trebuchet is obviously helping. And honestly, blue might only need this castle to produce Huskarls. We might not even need those unique techs. Dang. Red just never realized in those moments, I'm going to need gold income. Maybe did realize and said, I have to win the game quickly, especially being up against the Goths. But guys, it's not just Huskarls. It's also going to be champions from these barracks on the back. Blue has been consistently producing. Blue also has more villagers, fewer idols. Still has this. Like, if this runs into red's economy at any point, red's in trouble. I would suggest to red selling some resources at the market, but honestly, red's not doing anything right now. Like, I think red... Are you here right now? Okay, red is apparently at the computer. I'm just curious because I'm not seeing movement. Okay, there we have movement. Oh, and he found that gold somehow. Oh, with the treb. Okay, he's just sold food, and he's going to make longbows. No, not longbows. Not the unit you want. You would want to click the champion upgrade, ideally, and make infantry here. Red's not finished yet. We've got a castle. Okay. Does see some gold, which could be very nice to take. All right, some of this gold from the longbows is going to come back to you, red, because your castle will go down. There go the villagers to gold. I mean, blue has just been a beast in production this game. And so I give the full advantage to blue. And uh-oh. That's bad. That's perfusion. And if he clicks perfusion, he might remember anarchy. But, guys, perfusion... And it even boosts the production from the castle, too, right? So, like... Actually, does it produce... Oh, actually, I might have misspoke. Does perfusion boost the production of a castle? I know it boosts the production from barracks, but I forget if it was all infantry units or if it's just infantry units out of barracks. Actually, not certain on that. Because how rare a situation is it for me where the Goth player is getting perfusion but not getting anarchy, you know? Anyways, elite Huskarls protecting the treb. These two trebuchets firing on the final castle here for red. And red is infatuated with longbows. And honestly, I don't blame you. Longbows are a pretty cool unit. not the unit you want here, and you're going to find out the hard way. Perfusion increases the working speed of barracks by 100%. Okay, that makes sense. I was incorrect. So perfusion actually is only relevant to the champions that are going to be produced, I guess. Yeah, it makes sense. You understand what I'm thinking, though? Like, I know it increases the production of Goth infantry, but I thought, like, if it said 100% faster production of infantry instead of faster production from the barracks, it would still accomplish a similar thing. But I understand. I think Red has reached that point of, I tried everything I can think of. I no longer know what to do. And Red, after queuing up a Knight and a Treb, just resigns here. Probably cursing the Goths right now because the Goths can be so frustrating to play against. But the player who clearly just has like fewer games, but I think more potential, won this game. That was a great game. Even at the highest level, guys, it's really fun to watch certain matchups like this, right? Like, you look at the highest level, you have the well-established name who's got the experience and has the track record against a up-and-coming player who maybe has the better civilization. And those games go back and forth, and there's lots of cool pros and cons. On this particular game, it's clear to me, based on the amount of games, which someone checked for me, thank you for that, and then also based on the style, that Red is the more experienced player. But Blue just had so much commitment and so much persistence in this game, and eventually it went late game, where I do think Red made some mistakes, but Blue's economy was stronger in this game. Take a look at this now. 60,000 resources collected versus 53,000 resources collected. I think Red committed towards the wrong unit here. Like, again, it's so tricky against Goths because they can just make infantry, and they can make a combination of any form of their infantry to beat any civilization, whether it's the champions against, someone else's champions, Halbs against cavalry, or going Huskarls against archers. It becomes very easy to play Goths and very hard to play against them. But Red needed the combination, but also Red learned a very important lesson there. And that lesson is, as the game is developing, make sure you're taking resources, right? Like, you have to, in the game these days, it shows how many you have on gold. In the past, before the definitive edition, it didn't show that. And I know it doesn't look like Capture Age, but it still does say like 0 on gold, or 10 on gold, or 167 on gold, right? And those are just the things you learn over time, is to kind of think ahead in that regard. But Blue's little side attack here was really good. Fighting in one main battle to distract your opponent while going off for a raid is really underrated. And it's so easy to get away with, I feel, at the mid to low elo level. So 27-minute castle time versus 19-minute castle time. Some of these stats for Red will be frustrating. Red maybe had a chance, if the foot would have gone on the gas, to counterattack at various points throughout this game. But I think lacked the confidence because Blue was the aggressor, and it was kind of scary to see that. But a good game here. Lots of lessons learned on what to do, what not to do, and maybe how to play the matchup on both sides. But well played to these two, man. I know it's low elo legends, but 800 elo is pretty freaking stacked. So it was really cool. Red did not supply the GG in that game, sadly, but Blue said, GG, good game, really. So Blue appreciated that. He's like, dang, that was a really good game. Always sad not to see the GG. I get it. But, I like to see the GG. Even if you're frustrated with yourself or the situation or your opponent, just give them the GG. They deserve that much.